Welcome to Pod Me If You Can, I'm David Farrell. Today's film is The Water's Edge, starring Nathan Fillion and Daniel Baldwin.
Pod Me If You Can, movie reviews.
Robert, Nathan Fillion, and Molly, Chandra West, are a married couple struggling with the tragic death of their young daughter. They've fallen on hard times financially and moved to his late father's rustic, isolated cabin in the small town of Reedsville. While in the woods, Robin watches a sheriff who is about to murder a woman with a rock. He saves her and lets her hide out at his cabin. Then they find themselves entangled in a web of corruption and deceit that hides under the small town's surface. So these kinds of films, where all the cops in town are corrupt and one cop must stand alone, I believe Copland with Sylvester Stallone, also Walking Tall with The Rock, all the local cops being, kind of corrupt, and I think LA Confidential has an element of that as well. It's a time-honoured tale that mostly leads to a shootout at the end, just like this film does. Where is his right to save this woman, Ray, played by Emmanuelle Vorgia? It seems quite an odd choice to let her hide out with them at the cabin. He does have to shoot the sheriff in order to save her, so now he's kind of a wanted man as well. So letting her stay there it seems a strange choice in the spur of the moment, not to just save her and let her go. But there's a strange recovery that happens. Because they've lost a young daughter, it turns out that the wife starts treating her kind of like a child. She's got some suicidal tendencies, and so she is combing the hair of this woman they've saved, bathing her, which seems really strange just in the context of the film, and being like motherly, I suppose. Now both of these actresses, Chandra West and Emmanuelle Vorgia, both are the real downfalls of this film. They're not very good actors, they haven't delivered performances here. Nathan Fillion is basically the reason to watch this film. But the two of them hamper things because the woman they find, Ray, is kind of the villain of the film. Basically, she's involved in this whole web of deceit with the mayor, who's played by Daniel Baldwin, and her whole performance needs her to be a femme fatale. Unfortunately, she doesn't quite bring it here, and it's the biggest letdown of this film. Daniel Baldwin, on the other hand, he's a very smarmy mayor with a real punchable face, and I think he's almost been typecast into this role, but he does it well here. And the secret of the town, I suppose, is that a small group of people make all the decisions and basically are the power behind Reedsville. The dialogue is hard to believe. Ray says, when you've been without a man's touch, it's hard to refuse any man. Also, she says to Nathan Fillion's character that he saved her life and she'll do whatever he wants. And it's basically meant to imply a very sexual kind of offering, and it's not delivered very well. So you go, oh, what's she doing? There's a scene where they get drunk and she seduces him, and he seems really dizzy and possibly that he's been drugged in some way, and she starts kissing him and basically he passes out and he wakes up with no shirt on. And it's not clear whether or not she drugged him or not, and I found that very annoying. Like, if she drugged him because there's $200,000 involved. If she drugged him to try and get the money, that would have been one thing, but then she uses that kind of leverage to say to the wife, I slept with your husband kind of thing, like he'd prefer me to you. It's not really anything, and it's mishandled. I found it really annoying when Nathan Fillion was in that scene, and she takes off her top, and he acts like he's never seen a bra before. And he's very weak as a male character, but a better actor than them. Certainly the motivations behind the character are weak. They're a very unlikable lot. Almost every character murders somebody or attempts to murder somebody. So even though his character kind of murders in self-defense, the whole lot of them, it's treated very casually. The whole murder thing is just something that happens out in the woods in small towns. The plot is complicated unnecessarily. This could have been a very straightforward lead to a shootout, but there are heavy exposition scenes, and the female characters do not have the acting chops to pull them off. The attempts at humour are far and in between, but there was one that really made me cringe. He's a writer, and she throws his book, and he says, "So you're a critic now?" which was really bad. Just some quick spoilers here, because I've got to talk about the end of this film. Because his character is a writer, I thought they were leading towards a twist where at the end we've been watching the events of his latest book unfold, because it was that complicated that it probably could have been that. But it wasn't that at all, and the two of them have to burn down the cabin after murdering people, and they're leaving town with the $200,000. 4 or 5 dead bodies being left behind. But everyone in town knows who they are, so the next thing that's happening is they're on the run. They're basically Bonnie and Clyde. And what's frustrating is their lives are over. They're just going to be pursued by the law for the rest of their lives. So this is just a bit of entertaining fluff, and it's nothing to write home about. Underwhelming in that kind of midday movie way.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeyifyoucan.com.